So that then makes me wonder, do we move the sweet bit until after? Yeah.
So we're going to do that after.
Yes, we're having sweets for breakfast.
Favourite places to knit, correct?
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Taking me sweets off me.
Yeah, I know, it's disappointing. I was excited, but for a moment, I was momentarily shocked the other morning.
For a moment, you were momentarily shocked.
Yeah, when Bryony was having a Rice Krispie cake for breakfast, but then I very quickly, came to the conclusion that there's probably less sugar in that than there is in.
That is the conclusion I came to too.
Yeah. It's just a normal beginning. The way it's coming straight in from the introduction to the beginning.
The introduction?
Oh, for crying out loud.
We've already done.
Hello.
Hello.
I feel like I'm on a children's TV programme. Hello there.
We're like the Chris and Poi of the knitting world, aren't we? Chris and Poi from CBeebies.
Hello there. Welcome to Bakery Bears podcast episode 32.
And today we could totally present children's TV.
I like doing this more. What programme was Bryony watching the other day where there was a drum kit on it? And
yeah, I can't remember the name of it, but I know which one you mean.
Well, they had a drum kit on and they had this drummer come out and play, and maybe I'm wrong for thinking this, but if it was me, if I was producing a TV programme, then what I would want to do, that's not our dog, what I would want to do is I'd want to make sure that the person who came out to demonstrate something actually knew what they were doing. And credit where credit's due, and I paused there for a second because we don't like the programme at all, but there's a programme called the Zingzillas, which I don't know how and where it is in the world, but at least the musicians they got on are all brilliant at what they do.
Are.
But yes, we are here and we're ready for a rather large show. We were conscious of the size of said show, and we were also conscious of, last episode, we actually had to drop certain projects to show because of time constraints, and I ended up having...
Wasn't there like 3 hours of footage you said?
It was 3 hours of footage. I had to edit it unbelievably hard. So we took a decision this episode, and we're so sorry if you're coming back ready for the exciting climax of Knit or Forfeit. We filmed at Castle Howard, and we're going to be going there later on in favourite places to knit. And we also have the competition winners.
Yes.
And we looked at all the elements when you consider what's on your needles, what's off your needles, books, and all the things we normally talk about. And there just was not room. Now, I am aware that plenty of people will be going, we don't care how long your podcast is. But
we've got to be realistic, haven't we?
We've got to be realistic, and also we're now aiming. We as we spoke about last week, we're within touching distance. Thank you so much to all the new patrons.
Yes.
You've got us another chunk towards that target to get us on iTunes. But when we do go onto iTunes, we're going to have to be very aware of the length of the podcast. And the reason being is if we stick out a 3-hour podcast and you download it to watch, I think you might get a little bit angry with us, considering the size of the download.
Oh, right.
Number one will take about 6 days, and number two, you probably have to clear off every app you've got on your device to download it.
We try to keep it around 2 hours, don't we?
Yes.
Because then that's equivalent to an hour a week, which is the sort of average podcast time.
And also 2 hours is the equivalent of if you were to download a film and watch it on your device. So that's the reason why we've taken the decision this week to just pause Knit or Forfeit. It was too exciting. One of us would have combusted had we gone into Knit or Forfeit, the final, this week. So we're going to do that next week. We're going to dedicate next episode. We're going to focus the whole episode around the final of Knit or Forfeit. So we can really get into the excitement. And
plus, I think I do need that extra bit of time to really come up with the most amazing, difficult and impossible questions to answer. And we briefly just said it, but we will do the, both of the knit-alongs finished a few days ago. I closed the threads on the morning of the 1st of September. I've done random number because there was 12 prizes. We had 12 in the end. and it's a bit very boring for people just to sit here while I randomly draw. So I've done all that. So we'll do all the prizes, who's won what, on the endy bits, just so you know where it's going to be.
Yes. So shall we crack on into...
Let's crack on with my
Kay Jones.
Kate Bush hair
What's
today.
on your needles?
I've had a moose incident, and I don't mean the animal. That just made me think of me.
Or the pudding.
Yeah, rubbing chocolate mousse into my hair. Yeah, well, it felt like that actually.
She got this chocolate pudding from Sainsbury's. It exploded, and this was the result.
Well, it looks like it today, doesn't it? I feel like a big frizz bomb. Anyway, what's on my needles? Did you say that?
I did.
Oh, okay, I missed that. What's on my needles? The first thing is a sock. No great surprise there.
Is it new?
Well, I didn't show it last time, as we said before. We didn't show everything last time.
Because we didn't have space.
But I did show it on the holiday episode. I'd started it there. So, it's a sock for Dad. So, I think this is the first one. I started this one. I'll hold it up so you can see it. Oh, isn't it lovely? And it is, it's mildly doing a swirly thing, but I wouldn't call that pooling. You see?
No, I would.
Well, I wouldn't. That's not pooling.
No,
Pooling
it's
is
not.
where you get a big clump.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
all know what. I don't even need to tell you what pooling is. So that's the first one, and I knit that one. This is the that's down to where I'll start the heel flap. And then I did get my other set of needles. If you remember, I was waiting on another set of needles, and I've just cast on the other cuff. So the needles I'm using, it's the Knit Picks Sunstruck 2.5mm, and they are lovely and they're really beautiful to look at. Do you know with the Knit Pro, the Symphonies, I think these are birch as well. I think it's the same wood.
What are these?
That's what I mean. Yeah, the Knit Pro Symphonies, they've been coloured, haven't they? So it's like all the sort of rainbowy colours. So you can't actually see the wood, but with these it's just the natural colour of the wood. And how pretty are they?
I prefer these.
You prefer the coloured ones?
Yeah.
I'll hold it up and maybe you can see. You probably can't see, but you get, I'll turn it around. I just find it really pretty, looking at the natural wood. I think it's beautiful. And they're really lovely needles to work
like natural
with.
wood. I do like natural wood. I'm not criticising those at all. I just like these.
I do like those as well. I love those, but it's just a nice change, isn't it? And because I'm using dark yarn as well, then it's really nice to have the light coloured needles, especially at night time.
Nice change.
To use different needles.
Those are words I never thought would come out of your mouth.
Well, that's true. And I'll show you the yarn. The yarn is Life in the Long Grass. It's an Irish yarn. I dyed in Ireland. So there's the colourway, and the colourway is turf. I explained the meaning of the turf colourway last time, but it's beautiful. I still love it. And there's the tag. It's the dappled base. The yarn I'm using. I got it from a yarn story, which is a yarn shop in Bath.
Thank you.
I would never say Bath. I would never say, Bryony, I've run your bath.
It'd be nice if you did.
But that's not how I speak.
I know, it's fine.
So, they've got an online shop as well. It is an actual bricks and mortar shop, but
Ooh.
I got this. I know, I'd love to go, but I suppose, how far is Bath from your mum's?
Oh, striking distance.
Oh, right.
Easy.
Well, maybe next time we're at your mum's then we could go.
Yeah.
Because Little Bobbins went,
a good
and she
reason
said
to
it was
go.
a lovely shop. So, yeah. And I love it. Yeah. And I'm just doing my normal 72 stitch plain sock, 2.5mm, and I really recommend this yarn. It's super lovely. So if you've got any in your stash, I would say get it out and cast on. I know sometimes I find it really hard to break into a skein of yarn, because it's so pretty, and I think, oh no, I'm just going to look at it for a little while. But we should knit these yarns, shouldn't we? That's what we buy them for. And it's really lovely to knit with, so that's my first project. Dan Jones?
Yes.
I didn't even need prompting.
Well, there was just a slight pause.
There was. I was just thinking, what do we do next? What's on your needles?
What do we do next? Well, I was just wondering actually how long a ribbing I need to do on this Violet Waffles hat.
Have you got the pattern? What does the pattern say? You can knit it as long as you want, really.
And it's for you, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I
So-
do like quite a nice, fairly deep rib.
So this is a Violet Waffles hat. This is in fondant fibre handspun, which is extremely beautiful, as we know.
Strange. Work and knit 2 purl 2 ribbon until the work measures 2.2 inches.
What? Well, I've done
2.2 inches. I mean, that's a very strange measurement, isn't it? Why 2? And then she's put 5.5 centimetres.
Right, well, I better stop.
Why? I mean, it doesn't matter, does it?
Well,
It's a bit longer
Well, that's definitely longer.
than 2.2 inches.
Yeah.
I reckon that's 2 inches. Maybe it's 2.2.
How funny that would be if I finished it perfectly. I'm actually very excited to know. I haven't even looked at what comes next.
Well, it tells you to switch to a larger needle, but I don't want you to do that.
Okay.
So what you're doing
Yeah.
is this, look. Rounds 1 and 2, you just knit.
Right.
Rounds 3 and 4, you knit 2 purl 2.
Okay.
So it's a 4-row repeat.
It's just like a constant rib.
No, it's not, because on rounds 1 and 2, you're just knitting.
Right.
Do you get that?
Do you get me?
Do you
Yes.
understand what I'm saying?
I
We're
do,
We're
I
doing
do.
live knitting lessons.
That's cool. Yes, I get it.
Oh, you need to finish this hat. I really want this hat for when it turns chilly.
Well,
Here's the yarn. It's beautiful. Look at that. Oh, it's just so beautiful. I know we've shown this before, but I think it just warrants showing again. It's
I don't think I showed it last week.
beautiful.
Last episode.
Oh my goodness, the colours. It's just exactly my colours.
Perfect.
It's gorgeous. Yeah. So it's the Violet Waffles hat, which is free. Unravel me.
It's cool.
Did you hold it up? No.
No. I hadn't held up the pattern, so that's perfect. I don't know what I think of that hat though.
Why?
No, I'm sure it's fine. It's fine. I'm thinking more from the knitting side of things rather than.
I love doing that pattern.
How many of these hats have you knit?
None, but I've knit the sock. I've knit the socks with that pattern on.
Oh, right,
Blueberry
okay.
waffle socks.
Right. Yes, of
My
course.
gold sock.
What else is on your needles?
Oh, this is exciting. And I'm only going to be showing this on this podcast this one time. I'm then going to keep it as a pop project.
Oh! What just happened?
It's going to be a pop project.
Oh my.
I know, but I thought I'd show you anyway because I've started it because I've got plans for what I'm going to do with this.
You see, you say pop, and a theme tune starts and a logo drops in.
Does it?
It did.
Is that what happened?
It is. It's there right now.
Wow.
Yeah. Show us.
I've started another mitered square blanket, but I decided I've got a huge box full of DK and worsted weight half balls, quarter balls, almost full balls. And I thought, I'm just going to try knitting a mitered square blanket with my worsted and DK, because I think a UK DK weight is there or thereabouts to a worsted. It seems to be working out without a problem. Mitered square blanket. So I'm doing it exactly the same as I've done my sock yarn square blanket, mitered square blanket, but I'm just knitting it with worsted weight. So here's where I am so far. Oh, so cute. And it's coming out about 3 inches square. And my sock yarn blanket, I think, is 2.5 inches. So it's not substantial. Surprisingly, I thought it would be much bigger, much more bigger than, the sock yarn blanket. But I like the fact that it's not great big squares because I do prefer smaller squares. So it's exactly the same as I'm knitting my other one, but I'm just using worsted and DK scraps. And the solid colour, these two solid colours, the purple and the yellow, I've got loads of Cascade 220 superwash in all different colours. So they're going to be kind of the solids that I dot around. And then all of the others are just from various projects, like, with your sock yarn scraps, really. I always have bits left over. This one, Dancing Dog Dye Works, that's the Obi-Wan knitter. colourway that lovely Michelle dyed up. I had to get one of those squares in, and I will be repeating squares as well, more so in this than with the sock yarn blanket, just because I've got, you know, quite big amounts of each of the colours. And then this one is another Dancing Dog Dye Works. I think it's Ode to Fall that I knit a giraffe in. That one's Dancing Dog Dye Works. This one is Dreams in Fibre. Thank you, I'm an absolute fool. That's Malabrigo Rios. That's some hand spun from Deb at Fondant Fibre. And that one is some Cascade 220 Superwash paints. And then I've got some other ones here. I've got some more Malabrigo Rios that I knit a giraffe in. Cascade 220 paints that I knit a giraffe in. That's some of Deb's hand spun. And then this one is the John Arbon Knit by Numbers, because I think that's a comparable weight. But I do think, do you know the Cascade 220 Superwash? I think it's a DK. I really don't think it's a worsted.
The last time I knit with that, I thought the same thing.
Did you? I thought you would.
I did.
Yeah. But, you know, just I started with the purple square and then I knit this one, I think. And the differences in the weight, you know, the feel in your hands, that's the two yarns there. I've got the ends. So I don't think I am declaring that Cascade 220 Superwash, I think, is more of a DK than a worsted. That's just my opinion. So that's my lovely blanket started. I didn't want to do too much on it. I wanted to just knit and knit and knit on it. But the reason I didn't want to do too much is because I'm going to be doing some tutorials for it.
A series?
Well, it won't be that many. Because once you've got going, really, that's it. But I thought I'd start a tutorial kind of from scratch for this one that I do. And I kind of made up this, I mean, they're all much of a muchness, these squares, aren't they? It just really depends how many you cast on and how you do your decreases and how you pick up, really, is the differences. But I just thought I'd do a tutorial because I know there's still a lot of people out there that maybe haven't started one of these. What I'll do on the tutorial is I'll start from scratch. So I'll start with the very first square, and then, you know, we'll work on from there. So I wanted to have a bit made up so I could obviously show that, but not too much that it was unwieldy, you know, to have as a demonstration. And look at these needles. I'm knitting it on, I know it's a worsted weight, and I thought about what size needles to use, because generally really worsted weight is kind of a 4.5, 5 mil, isn't it? But I thought this thing's going to be big, isn't it, when it's finished, and it's going to be weighty, and that's going to pull it down. So I thought, right, I want to knit it at a slightly tighter gauge so that it's not quite so baggy, you know, when it's all, I don't want it to stretch out too much. So I'm knitting it on a 3.75 mil, which seems to be working really well. I like the fabric. And look at these cute needles.
They're cool.
Oh, look at these. I was using DPNs, just 6-inch DPNs. And then I remembered that I'd seen these in Wool Stack. It's an online shop that I use quite a lot. And it's little tiny 6-inch needles, you know, straight needles. They are Knit Pro Novas, I believe. I think it's Knit Pro Nova. And they're super cute. So that's making it really fun to work on it as well with these little tiny needles. I don't know where else you can get them, but you can certainly get them. It's Wool Stack, as I said. So you know, I thought I'd show it to you now, and I've left all my ends unwoven because that'll be one of the things that I show on the tutorial. Yeah, and I really love it. And it just makes a change, you know, because a lot of, I think prior to this, all of my projects were on fingering weight, and it's just kind of nice to have something in a bit of a heavier yarn. It's your turn.
Thanks. It's the blue tip sock. I'm just about to start doing the toe decreases, which I've done before actually, so that should be a breeze. The only thing I hadn't done was the heel turn and picking up the stitches and things, which as we discovered on a previous episode, I have now done. It's certainly not perfect, but I did it on about my third attempt, or was it second attempt?
Second, I think.
The second attempt, and that was through watching Kay's Patron's tutorials, which is super cool. So that has seen me right through, turning a beautiful heel and then now down, approaching those toe decreases. And it is, as we all know, the blue tick yarn, and we're getting very excited here about the new yarns.
Because the lady that, we've got the thread in, I opened up a thread in the group, show us your West Yorkshire Spinners yarn projects. Well, West Yorkshire Spinners have been going on there and looking at all the projects and commenting. It's been really cool. And on one of the posts, they actually made a comment to say that the new range that's coming out in the autumn, it's more birds. Me and Bryony were like, oh, what bird yarns do you think there's going to be? And Bryony's like, there's got to be a robin. So we're hoping for a robin.
I'm hoping for a chuff.
But we're very excited
we
about
are
that.
indeed very excited. And these needles are the same as my other ones, aren't they?
Knit Pro Symphonies.
Yeah. I do really, really like these. I have tried other ones.
You have. That's the only ones I give you now, to be honest.
Because I don't like any of the others.
No, because you just moan about the others.
Because I've tended to find you can be getting out your next project.
I can't get it out because it's secret.
How are we going to see it?
I'm just going to show the yarn.
Oh, okay. And that's one of the projects that you're showing?
I'm going to talk about it and show the yarn. Stop criticising my...
Yeah, I'm very particular, I think, with needles. I don't like slippy needles.
No, I don't like slippy needles either.
I know some people do, don't they? They like needles where wool
very
slips
slick.
Easily.
Yeah.
I struggle to keep any of my stitches on the needles.
I think it also, with me, I tend to knit looser on slippy needles as well, and I don't like knitting loose in particular. I think I'm fairly average, really. I don't think I'm tight or loose. But I do find that if they're very slippy, I do knit looser.
So what else is on your needles?
Oh, this is very exciting. However, it's not something I can actually show you at this stage. Isn't that awful? I hate that when that happens on podcasts, and I'm so sorry that I've actually said that, because I'm always like, ugh, why can't you show it? Because it's a design in progress, and it's not because I'm worried about anybody stealing designs or anything like that, because I don't really bother too much about that. It's more that I want to make sure that it works.
Although that's seriously not cool.
No, it's not cool, but it's not something that I worry too much about. If I do show it, I show it in a very public forum, and you all know that that is my design. If somebody then chooses to do something unpleasant, there's nothing I can do about that. But you all know that it's mine, and that's all that matters to me, really.
That's a song. Curtis Stigers.
Oh, I like Curtis Stigers.
Yeah, it's cool.
He's a good singer.
Go on then.
So, I've had this thought in my head for months and months and months that I wanted to design a shawl based around a particular theme. It's my very favourite place to knit, so you will all probably know where that is. I've been having dilemmas with this design because, and I realised why it was. I think I was trying to force myself to design something that wasn't really me. I was thinking it had to be a certain way because of the theme, if you like, or the place that inspired me. And then I woke up.
It's funny though, it's not just a place, it's a particular part of the place.
It is a particular part of the place,
which is cool.
Yeah. And I just
woke up. What's so cool about this particular part of the place is it's a great place to go and sit and knit.
It is, and I have sat and
I know you have.
Yeah. I woke up one morning and I just thought, do you know what? I am just going to get that yarn that I'd set aside for it, and I'm just going to cast on, and I'm just going to knit what's in my head. I'm going to not try and force myself to knit anything complicated. I'm not that kind of person, and I'm also not the sort of person that can just sit down and say, right, I'm going to design something now and just get on with it. Things just kind of come into my head, and I said this to you, didn't I? That like with the giraffe pattern, it just suddenly popped into my head, and within 2 days I'd had it knit and the pattern written up, and that's just what happens with me. So I've just got to stop forcing myself to thinking to myself, I've got to do that, and then when I stop thinking that, it just sort of comes into my head and I start knitting, and I'm away kind of thing. So it's a shawl, and I'm kind of 3/4 of the way through with the first one I cast on, and then last night I cast on another one. But the first one I cast on, I'm using this yarn. I cannot go on about this yarn enough. I showed it in the last podcast. It's the Blacker Yarns Falkland Islands wool 4-ply, I say 4-ply, it's very much like a sport weight. So this pattern, I'm knitting one in this, and then there'll be another one in like a true fingering weight. So it will be a sport or fingering weight pattern, which I really like, you know, that it's got that, not versatility, you know, that scope to use different yarns. So this one is Falkland Islands wool. Like I said, it's blacker yarns, and it's absolutely beautiful to knit with this yarn. Oh my goodness. And I think it's this, I just knit and knit and knit, and I only started it on Friday, I think, and I knit on it virtually all day Saturday, and that's the first time I've sat down and done a whole long spell of knitting like that in a long time. And I just couldn't stop knitting on it because it's just so gorgeous, this yarn. It's a non-superwash, and I do really like, I've said this before, but I do really like non-superwash yarns. There's just something about it. It feels, as Tilly said, it's like a real wool. I think Tilly said recently on one of her podcasts, it's like real wool, and this feels like a real wool, but it's still incredibly soft. It's beautiful. I would really, you know, this will be one of the yarns that I obviously use on the pattern, and I would really recommend that you have a go with this yarn because it's absolutely beautiful. And then I decided, because of the nature of the pattern, it lends itself really well to using 2 colours, and the yardage is going to be fairly high on it. I think at the moment I'm almost finished with my second skein of this one, and this is 190 yards. I'm definitely going to need the third one, and I might even have to break into a fourth one. So it's going to be, I couldn't tell you the exact yardage, but 309, 18, 27, might be kind of 500 yards, something like that. I'm not exactly sure yet. And that's what made me think you could use 2 skeins, you know, of a fingering weight yarn as well. And like I said, the pattern does lend itself for using 2 colours, so I got really excited about that. And I was going through my yarns to see what I'd got, and I was going to go down one route with these sorts of colours, and then I thought, no, I have the perfect yarn. And can you remember I cast on socks with this yarn whilst I was on holiday that Sally sent me? It's the Alaskan yarn that I spoke about last time, Alaskan Yarn Company. It's the Backyard Pool Party. And just when you know the inspiration, you'll realise why I thought this was perfect. But it just had all the right colours in, and I coordinated it with another one that was in my stash that I've had for a couple of years. It's this one. So these are the 2 colours together. Oh, I just think they're lovely because it picks up the kind of, can you see the lighter specks in this one, and the silveryness of this just matched with what my, you know, the theme of it was. And this one I got at Yarndale, on the first Yarndale, so it's 2 years ago now, and it's Triskelion Yarns. I think it's a Welsh company. It's their Amathon 4-ply, and it's 25.75 superwash merino and silk. Now, because this one I told you is so soft and drapey and lovely, I thought the silk in this one would go really well. And the colourway for this is Rhyme, and it's lovely yarn. Can't quite get all of the, I'll show you there. It's Triskelion. He does have an online shop, Triskelion Yarn and Fibre. Really lovely yarn. So I started another one last night using those 2 colours. So I've got 2 of these things on the go. And my aim is for me to get these 2 finished by the end of September, which I should be able to do. And then I'll ask for some test knitters, probably end of September-ish, beginning of October. And then, as you know, we're going away at the end of October, and use that time to take pattern shots while we're there.
And we'll also shoot a podcast with Nana Wendy.
Nana Wendy. So I'm aiming, I've set myself a goal of having the pattern out kind of...
Challenge for Nana Wendy.
1st of November.
I'm going to challenge her to have an FO.
No chance.
Let's see what happens. Have you ever had a project that you didn't want to finish? And I don't mean that in the sense of, that sounded wrong, didn't it? I don't want to finish that because that's awful.
No,
Did
I know
it sound
what you mean.
like that?
No, it didn't sound like that.
Good. Well, here is that project. It's perfect. I love this. I love this. And I have to find some. How much further do I need to go up? Do you think before quite?
Well, We normally
I
knit
really
about,
don't want to mess it up.
No, we normally knit to about 6 inches. I did measure it the other night.
Yeah.
It wasn't quite at 6 inches. I think it was 5.
But what am I going to do with the rest of the ball?
I don't know. We'll have to think of something. Could knit me a headband. That'd be cool. We'll have to find a pattern for
Genius. It's obviously a bankhead.
Shall I hold it for you?
No, I'm holding it.
Well, you're not showing it to its best.
No one minds.
I'm going to stop talking.
Yeah, that would be great. It's a bankhead by Knit Natural, Susie Gawley, in Knit Natural yarn. The yarn is what?
It's Polwarth, isn't it?
Polwarth, that's it.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Kessel Run.
It's the nicest thing I've ever done.
Every night when he's been knitting a bit on it, he just keeps doing this. He'll go,
Yeah,
look!
But look at the striping.
Yeah, it is beautiful. The colours are perfect. You know, it's just September, so the colours are perfect for this time of year as well.
It's just
You
the
could totally
loveliest
wear
thing.
them. You can totally
I'm going
wear
to.
those colours. I mean, the colours, you were a bit funny about it, weren't you? You thought, can I wear them? You can totally wear those colours, oranges and greens, with your colouring. It's beautiful yarn. Oh, I could have a little bit for my blanket.
Yeah, definitely.
When you finished it, that's exciting.
So you got one more, haven't you?
I have got one more. Did we say everything we need to about that? Yes,
I think so.
Bankhead, yeah. Yeah, everybody knows.
Just while you're getting that out, I'll just say as well that we're both doing rubbish at the moment.
Oh, yeah, I'm not having a very good time at the moment, are we?
And we won't dwell on this at all because we're not here to be
no.
that way at all. But
Dan's fine.
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine.
Don't
It's
worry.
Just this time last year, I was slap bang in the middle of first course of treatment, and I just keep having flashbacks and stuff, and like I'll just be. I was upstairs in the bedroom the other day, and it just made me think of. I had a flashback to being laid on the bed and not, just being stuck there.
Yeah, you did spend a long time laid on the bed.
And I found some ondansetron pills the other day, which were pills I had to take, which just made you taste of metal the whole time. And
what were they for? I forget. Were they the blood thinners?
No, ondansetron's just stop me being sick. Yeah. So I just keep having really horrendous flashbacks, and it's making me sleep uneasy and all sorts. So, it's rubbish.
And I've just not been good at all, really. And I've been rereading the book that I showed many, many weeks ago now. Do you know the At Last a Life book, the anxiety book and everything? And I know I spoke about this at length before, and I haven't mentioned it in a long time, and I was doing so well, and then, there's something going on that I won't go into at the moment because I just don't really want to talk about it. But it's just triggered it all back off, and not being very good at all, really. So, we're okay, but
well, we're here.
We're here, and it's fine.
So that's
just,
cool.
It's just something we've got to get through, isn't it? And I'm sure things will come the end of the year when, we'll be past that time when you finish your treatment, and
sort of turning the corner into the new school year will be a good thing.
It's felt like a very long summer. Bryony's not back to school until next Tuesday. And it's been the longest summer, I think. It was just over 7 weeks, the amount of time she had off. Which is a long time, isn't it? To be out of your normal routine and, be restricted on what you can do. Because, we've obviously, one of us has always got to be there for Bryony at the minute. She's watching a video at the minute, so she's okay. But
I just thank the Lord for knitting.
Yeah, and even I've been in that much of a... I don't know, that some nights I've not even knit, have I? Dan's been sat there knitting and I've just not, which is most not like me at all. I've just not felt like doing anything at all. And I've not felt good physically, and I don't want to go into it because just...
Well,
I seem to cry at the drop of a hat at the moment, so...
I do anyway.
That wouldn't be good for anybody. My last project it's another sock, and now because I pulled out the sock that is now going to become a shawl, that I'm much happier that yarn is going to become a shawl. I've actually now only got 2 socks on the needle, which, oh, I'm so relieved, because at one point I had 5. That's just a bit ridiculous, isn't it? For me, it's ridiculous, I know. So it's my refresher socks, yeah, the ones that Dan calls refresher. I've done a little bit more, I think, since the last podcast, but not a whole lot more. And do you know, I had that problem with the little white spot of yarn. I had quite a few people suggesting various things. Do you know what I've done in the end? Because a couple of people suggested this. Just to get a Sharpie marker in the same sort of colour, there or thereabouts.
Do you know what I was about to say?
And just colour it in.
I was about
It's
to
totally
say.
what I did.
You've coloured it in with a crayon and then laugh. And that's actually what you've done.
That's what I've done, because Sharpie's a permanent marker, isn't it? So that's the side. And look, you can't even barely see it now, look. Look, Dan.
That's amazing.
I just coloured it in. So thank you. I think a couple of people suggested that. And I was like, I can't do that, can I? I can't colour in my knitting. I totally did. And it worked a treat. But what I've realised, do you know how I was going on about contrast heels? We've been doing another tutorial, haven't we, for DPN socks. And I realised, because normally when I knit a heel flap, I usually use the Hermione's template, as I know a lot of people do. And with that one, you effectively knit the heel flap. You know, if this is your sock facing you, you knit it on the back stitches. You know, if you're on Magic Loop, it's that back needle. If you're on DPNs, it's the back 2 needles. But the sock I'm doing for the tutorial, you knit it on the front. You knit your heel flap on the front needles. And I realised if you do it that way, you can totally just knit the heel flap and heel turn in your contrast colour, cut the yarn, and then your yarn is actually in the right place when you go back to it to start picking up your stitches. So I won't have that again, you know, where I picked up one side in the contrast and the other in the normal. So that's what I'm going to do now when I do a contrast heel, is if you knit your heel flap on those front stitches, then, like I said, your yarn's in totally the right place to pick up your stitches. So that was brilliant to, you know, to come to that realisation. And it could be that everybody out there knows that already and I'm the last one to understand, but... And the other thing that I did with these was I was knitting them on my 2.25 Knit Pro Sunstruck, but I got, because I loved the higher sharps so much, I ordered some 2.25s in that, and let me tell you, they were like, it was like hen's teeth trying to find these 2.25s. I looked everywhere online and nobody had them in stock, but I did find some, and I found some at Tall Yarns. I'm covering it up there. tallyarns.co.uk. A lovely lady called Linda who runs that shop, and she knew who I was. That's never happened. I've never ever ordered anything online and the person who I'm buying it off watches the podcast. I was totally like gobsmacked, because she sent me a message saying, oh, you know, I really enjoy your podcast and everything. I'm like, oh, I can't believe it. So I would say, you know, and she had some lovely yarns in as well. If you're looking for some higher sharps, that's where I got mine from, and it was excellent. So, and I do love these needles, and I thought, oh, throwing one away. I thought if I change the needles over, like I said before, it'll just make it kind of a bit more interesting. And the yarn, I'll tell you again, just in case. Fortissima Mexico Cotton Stretch, and it's the colourway Batik. It's number 45, Batik. And it's lovely, I really like it. I am done.
Wow.
That is all my projects.
Cool. It's time for me to ask someone what's on their needles. That's exciting.
That's exciting.
It's very exciting. And I was very excited about finding out about this person and then having a bit of a chat with this person. That's good, isn't it?
Oh, a man.
It's a bloke. He became an uncle last October, and he made this for his nephew. Isn't that amazing?
I'm looking on there, but that's not telling me anything, is it?
I love that. I thought that was so pretty. I got that picture off his blog, which he does, and I had to use Google Translate so I could understand his blog.
Oh.
It's very interesting. He has a cat named Mika, and I was wondering if that was
Mika?
after the pop
Is
guy.
he in the same country as
Mika? No.
Oh.
But yeah, that sort of made me smile that he has a cat named Mika. Because what a great singer he is, but he's just disappeared. And this person only likes certain shades of pink.
Wow, only
Yes.
certain shades of pink.
Yes, he doesn't really like pink, just certain shades of it he likes.
Ah.
And I just thought that was such a cool thing to say.
I wonder what the certain shades are.
Yes, maybe at the same time as telling us what's on your needles, you can also tell us what shades of pink you do like. And the reason why I picked this person was because he reminded me of somewhere where I used to go on holiday, and also reminded me of the fact that there were some ruins there that I never actually visited. We always used to drive by. I never got taken to see the ruins because I was only young at the time. But when I sort of researched what these ruins were...
Oh, I know who it is now.
All right. When I researched who these ruins were, or what these ruins were, again, just things... I just found it amazing. So, what's on your needles? It's Ferran Marino. It sounds like a wolf.
It sounds like an Italian car.
Yeah, it does.
It does, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
Isn't there a car with the very similar name?
Probably. So Ferran Marino is from Barcelona. He's a guy from Barcelona.
Wow.
And
You told me about him the other day, yeah.
yes, and I used to go on holiday every year to just up the coast from Barcelona. I said this to him on the Ravelry thread, and he said, "Oh, did you ever go to the ruins at Ampurias, the Greek ruins at Ampurias?" They date from 525 BC, but then the Romans turned up, and there's a Roman fort there. And I looked at the plan of the fort, and it's exactly the same as all the forts that we showed you on Hadrian's Wall. Ferran, please show us what's on your needles. I'd really like to see. Without further ado, I think we should go and visit Castle Howard.
Oh, it was lovely.
We've been building up to this.
We had such a lovely day, and I felt good that day. I was having a good day.
We all had a good day.
Yeah, I didn't feel poorly at all, and it was just nice.
If you remember, we started a 3-episode series all about English stately homes, and fortified castle, small and perfectly formed, which was Markenfield Hall, and then the grand and similar to Chatsworth, which is Castle Howard. And what's so cool about Castle Howard, as you're going to find out now when we go visit, is and neither Kane or I had never sort of put this together. Castle Howard. It's called Castle Howard because the person who built its surname was Howard. His surname was Howard, and he was a descendant of Catherine Howard. Catherine Howard, who was, of course, a wife of Henry VIII. An unbelievably beautiful place with links straight back to all the things that we've spoken about, Henry VIII and the dissolution of the monasteries, and so pretty much everything that we've done.
It's a fabulous day out, family day out, because there's so much to do. And
You've
so
got to
much
do it right, though. We did it wrong the last time
we did, but with this time I think we did it right, didn't we? And we went for a lovely walk.
So
when we first got there.
If you go to Castle Howard, go into Castle Howard, walk up to the house,
the house is on your left-hand side, and you carry on. It's like a grass path, isn't it?
It goes off to the right.
Yeah, it goes off to the right, and it takes you up to the mausoleum, which you actually couldn't get up to.
More about that in a minute.
And also the
temple of the Four Winds.
Yeah, which is where we had lunch, and that was lovely.
So yeah, if you go up there, and I would start at the temple of the Four Winds, and then I would walk back through the estate.
Okay, so now it's over to me and Dan at Castle Howard.
Yay! Welcome to Favourite Places to Knit, Castle Howard. It's very exciting, although it's spitting, which is rather annoying.
It's just a passing cloud, I'm
So
sure.
the sun will be out again presently. So Castle Howard, did you know that it was built by a playwright?
I did, because you just told me when we were walking up there.
You're not supposed to say that. You're supposed to pretend you don't know.
Right.
It was built by a guy
don't
called...
know.
It was built by a guy called John Vanberg. John Vanberg was a member of the famous Kit Kat Club. You might have heard about that. It's a club of famous people that used to meet in London in the 1700s. And he met Charles Howard, who was the 3rd Earl of Carlisle. And Charles Howard was not a particularly... he was a little bit boring. And he was surrounded by all these really exciting people, and he decided that the way he was going to make his mark in the world was by having a wonderful house. So he asked a playwright, someone who'd never built a house before in his life, to build him a house. And the playwright said, yeah, okay, I will.
He did a pretty good job.
He did do a really good job, and we're going to go and find out all about that in just a second. But if you look behind us there, you can see it's the most gorgeous bridge.
Yeah.
And they clearly don't want you to go down to it, which is so annoying. Rebels are climbing the fence. Rebels, it's like Star Wars.
It is, isn't it?
Rebels are climbing the fence and going down and looking, but we're not going to.
Because there is a sign that says beware of the bull on the fence that everybody's climbing over. So
I think that's a ploy.
we think, yeah.
It's a ploy.
But there is some in that field over there, I saw them.
But you see a really lovely bridge there, and you also see the family mausoleum behind. And in 1738, Charles Howard, the guy who built Castle Howard, actually died. He died in Bath, not in a bath.
In our Bath, no.
No. He died in the town of Bath.
In the town of Bath.
And unfortunately, his mausoleum, which he designed, he knew that the end was coming. He was getting older in years. Wasn't finished, so they buried him in a local church nearby, and he stayed there for 8 years. They finished off the mausoleum, and then
moved him.
They moved him up, and now it's the family mausoleum.
Right.
So any Howard gets buried there.
Cool.
But let's go and take a look around Castle Howard. How's this for an entrance off your garden? Absolutely stunning. Now, this temple was originally called the Temple of Diana, and the building, a cube with dome and porticos, is modelled in part on Palladio's Villa Rotunda in Vicenza in Italy, and it does have that sort of Gothic Italian feel. It's a really beautiful place to sit and have a picnic. We loved it. The temple lies at the eastern end of the terrace that before 1699 was the main street of the medieval village of Henderskelf. And you can actually see a time team dig. It's series 10. I'll put in the show notes a link to the time team episode with where they come and dig and look for Henderskelf. But this was used as a place for refreshment and reading. And it was deliberately put in a place which commands really impressive views. To the north, and a quarter of a mile away, is the site of Hawksmoor's Temple of Venus, but that unfortunately collapsed in the 1940s. There's the view, just looking across to the bridge, and also behind there is the mausoleum, which we're going to talk about some more in a minute, and there's a final little view of the rather stunning Temple of the Four Winds. As you move away from the Temple of the Four Winds and down a little path, you get to one of the lovely lakes. Now, there's a number of waterways and lakes around Castle Howard, and they all feed downwards towards a stream that we saw the bridge running over. It's a river, actually, more than a stream. But here is a really beautiful waterfall, and there in the distance you can see the Howard family mausoleum. Now, Charles Howard wrote when he was nearing death, "I do design to build a burial place near my seat of Castle Howard where I desire to be laid." I just think that's absolutely brilliant. What a great thing to put in your will. And that is exactly what he did. He built that. He was laid there, as we just discovered. He stayed in a church, a local church, for a few years before he got moved there. But now that is the burial place of the Howard family. And we're now looking up towards Castle Howard and getting ready to arrive at Castle Howard. It's designed specifically so you get this big reveal as you walk upwards, and all stately homes did this. It's similar at Chatsworth and any big stately home that you go and visit. As you move through the gardens, you gradually get shown new, exciting views, and that really, I think, is one of the best that we've seen anywhere. There it is. There's Castle Howard.
I was going to say there's a tulip.
Now, that was built from east to west, and it took them only 10 years to build the whole thing. That's amazing, isn't it?
10 years to build that whole house. Now, they didn't actually finish building it in that 10 years. They finished the outer shell, but the inside they didn't finish for many more generations, because it's such a large place, as we're going to see in just a minute. But as we've said already, it was built by a playwright, and as we'll show now, the facades are just bristling with cherubims and dolphins and absolutely gorgeous things. It screams theatre, which is exactly what Charles Howard wanted.
Did you notice my co-host in that little section there? No, not Bryony. This little duck. Just go back and play that last bit back. He was there doing that the whole way through. Never work with animals, that's what I say.
How's this for a beautiful link? It was a real shock, I didn't even know this was there. Up there, that man who is currently mooning us is the Greek Antinous, who came up in last week's Knit or Forfeit. So that is the guy that Hadrian fell in love with. And then he unfortunately drowned in the Nile. And you can see from this angle why he fell in love with him.
We start our tour of the house on the grand staircase conducted in 1870. There's 74 panes of glass up there. It's a really beautiful thing. And down just next to the stairway, there's actually a bust of Lucius Geta, who was the most famous Roman governor of York, which I really enjoyed seeing. This leads you up past this amazing cabinet full of all that lovely crockery. And then those are previous lords of Castle Howard. So all members of the Howard family. Now this is leading us down to a very special bedroom, and I think we're going to need to get someone who loves a certain place to have a little chat and tell us all about the links between Chatsworth and Castle Howard.
I wanted to just tell you about something we haven't mentioned before about Castle Howard, and that is the fact that there's actually quite a big link between Castle Howard and Chatsworth. You'll all know the film with Keira Knightley where she plays Georgiana Cavendish. Well, she had a daughter also called Georgiana, and her daughter married one of the owners of Castle Howard. So we thought we might just take you across now to have a look at her bedroom.
In 1801, the wedding between Georgiana Cavendish, the daughter of the beautiful Georgiana, 5th Duchess of Devonshire, and George Howard, signalled a connection between the two great houses of Castle Howard and Chatsworth that lasted throughout the 19th century. Look at some of these views of her room, and that view from her bedroom was absolutely beautiful. And you can see her picture there on that bedside table as an old lady. As you move into rooms adjacent, there's living rooms, and look at the colour of the walls. You're going to see a few absolutely stunning wallpapers as we move around the house. And the thing I really love about Chatsworth is, I think because it's just that little bit smaller than Castle Howard, because it is that little bit smaller than Chatsworth, it does feel decidedly more lived in, and I always enjoy that. I think we've established that on other visits. When something feels lived in, when it feels like a home, I think it's you can picture this being used by Charles Howard and Georgiana and families growing up here. Look at the artwork. There's tons of amazing artwork, and downstairs in one of the halls we're going to have a look at some Roman artwork that's just beautiful. Now this is one of the upper long galleries, and this takes you down it's like a marble walkway on the way down to the Great Hall. That was a picture there of the mausoleum. Now, the Howards over the course of history have been great collectors of art in the form of paintings, and as well as we've already mentioned, busts and statues. And what we're going to see as we move down here, is another picture of Chatsworth there, is quite a lot of Roman busts. Of course, that is not Roman, that's Egyptian. I absolutely love those. I've got one myself, and it's one of my treasured possessions. Now there's one of the corridors down into areas used by the family, which I always love to have a little look down. Of course, there's no entry, but you just have a little peer, and you get another taste of what life is really like living in these places. Now, this walkway leads us down to one of the most stunning reveals in the whole of the internals of the house, and it has a story, a very interesting story connected to it. So let's go over to me and Kay, and we'll learn a little bit more about that.
You see the dome up there, Kay?
I do see the dome.
Charles Howard's house, Castle Howard, that we're looking at right there, was the first private house in the country to have a dome like that. Now, unfortunately, in 1940, fire broke out in the house, and it totally took out the southwest wing. It also completely burnt out that dome.
Did it?
It did. Now, it wasn't until 1960 that they put the roof back on again.
God.
So it was uninhabitable. And it was only in the it was in the 1960s. The dad of the guy who currently owns the house, he was responsible for getting it back up and running. And a TV programme was filmed here in the 80s, Brideshead Revisited.
Wow.
And the money that they paid the house enabled them to sort out one of the most beautiful halls in the house, which we're going to have a look at in just a second, called the Garden Hall. So Brideshead Revisited, if you've not seen it, it's definitely worth a watch. It's quite a hard watch, isn't it?
Yeah, we've started watching it, but I kept falling asleep. It wasn't quite sort of, you know.
It's Evelyn Waugh, so it's very wordy,
Yeah.
but it's very beautiful. It actually starts in Bath.
It
How
does.
interesting is that? And of course, we've established where Charles Howard died, the guy who built the house.
Let me tell you folks, that is as breathtaking as it looks. The Great Hall is the crowning masterpiece of John Vanberg, the playwright that we spoke about at the start of the episode's design. From the outside, the dome represents Castle Howard with its unique silhouettes that we saw when we were just outside a minute ago talking about the fire. But on the inside, it's rising 70 feet in the air. It's an absolute triumph of theatre and space, which is what John Vanberg was all about. Massive columns filled with carved decoration, and the painted decoration was executed by the Venetian artist Antonio Pellegrini, and it was between 1709 and 1712. Sadly though, all of this was burnt out, so this has all been redone. It was redone after 1940, and how tragic that must have been, that all that got destroyed by fire. Look at the colour in this room. Kay was absolutely smitten with this room. I think she would really love a colourway, a nice yarn colourway in this colour. It's just so striking and so unbelievably beautiful. And as you move around these rooms, as we walk through that door there, listen to this. How stunning was that? Now, it's only the second time. Oh, no. Chatsworth do that as well. There's an area in Chatsworth where they do that. And also Raby Castle had a pianist playing in their grand hall, which was amazing. This is the Octagon, by the way, which is halfway down the long gallery at Castle Howard. But the acoustics here in the long gallery for a pianist, it was like a concert hall. And just really added to the whole ambience of the place. Now, we spoke about artworks before. All the way down either side are original pieces of art. And it was interesting actually, because Castle Howard has just sold, I think it's 8 or 9 pieces of art that raised something like 10 million, and they did that to obviously help fund the estate and keep the estate running. And it's very clever what happens now, because you get to the end of the long gallery, and if you didn't realise, you would think that you were perhaps coming to the end of the tour of the house. But the house has one final little stunning secret, and it is something that you find in all stately homes, certainly all the ones that we visited. It was quite the fashion to have their own private chapel. So this rather unassuming but extremely beautiful staircase leads us up into the chapel, which by the end of the 18th century was being used regularly. Now, between 1870 and 1875 it was extensively altered. The floor of the existing chapel was lowered and the pillars and ceiling were redecorated, and they were redecorated with the Holbein's designs from the Royal Chapel in St James's Palace in London. Holbein was, of course, the guy who painted for Henry VIII, and who famously painted the picture of Anne of Cleves that was made to look rather nicer than she actually was. Amazing ceiling there, and the windows, the stained glass, just utterly stunning. But there's that ceiling again. The stained glass windows were designed by Burne-Jones and were executed by Morris & Co. in 1872. And yeah, William Morris, there's a lot of William Morris stuff going on in the house. So real arts and crafts things. But here we have now the final view and a final word from me.
So that, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of Favourite Places to Knit at Castle Howard. I hope you've enjoyed our little look around. I think it's been absolutely marvellous. We love it here. I used to come here as a kid, and I used to actually walk on the other side of that lake. I used to go with my grandparents and my mum and my dad, and I remember one time actually messing around with my grandma and picking up what I thought was just a piece of grass. I threw it at her, and it wasn't, it was blunt, it was a stone. And it hit her right on the back. It was awful. And what we must be 35 years on, and I can still remember it, and I still feel really guilty about it. So that's the end of our trip to Castle Howard. It's now time to go back to us in the studio, and we'll see you next time for more Favourite Places to Knit.
Oh, that was great. I love Castle Howard.
We loved it.
But I feel really bad about that little story I said at the end. Walking with my granny. I so didn't mean to. Oh.
What little story? I can't remember.
It's like 33 years ago, and I remember it as vividly as if it was yesterday, right? I'm a boy, I've got boisterous brothers, they've been playing with sticks and throwing stuff and things, and I pick up this clump of grass.
Oh, I remember you saying.
And it was a clump of grass, or at least that's what I thought. Sadly, hanging on the end of the clump of grass, within the sort of muddy bits, it wasn't big, don't think what a meanie. He threw a blooming massive clump of grass at his granny. It was a stone. So I went like that, and I can see it now. The grass dropped away, and there was this stone flying towards my 70-year-old grandma, and it hit her slap bang in the small of the back.
It could have been worse. It could have hit her on the head.
I'm so sorry, Nana Allen.
She sat on a cloud laughing at you.
She was brilliant. I mean, she was brilliant. She was the granny who, we were on holiday in Spain near Ampurias. Ampurias, that sounds
yeah, well,
wrong.
I've been wanting to laugh at you the whole time you've been saying that word. Wouldn't it just be Ampurias? Not what you've been saying.
Anyway, we were at this place, and it's hot. It's really hot. And we were there with my granny and granddad, and my mum said, look, you should wear thinner clothes on the top. So she gave her this.
To your nan?
Yeah. So you're not so hot.
Right.
She gave her this see-through light top that you were supposed to wear, over the top of maybe
a camisole or something.
Yeah. She put it on with nothing on underneath.
No bra.
Nothing. And then we went out to dinner. This woman was in her 70s.
Oh, why didn't your mum stop
And
her?
I'm sat there eating a pizza, looking. Needless to say, I wasn't very hungry that night. I mean, we should get my mum to talk about this when she's on it next time. What's in your sweetie jar? So we have 2 vintage sweets, definitely vintage sweets, because you really struggled to get these, and these were everywhere a few years ago. But this is proper vintage.
Well, it's a sherbet fountain. Everybody will know a sherbet fountain.
Well, they won't.
Well, in this country, I mean, you will know. But
there'll be thousands of people out there who don't have a clue what you're talking about.
Again, I've not had one of these for donkey's years, and the main difference these days is, you will all remember in this country when you were little, they used to come in a cardboard tube.
With paper at the top that you
paper
untwisted.
Paper at the top, yeah. It's now all plastic. But the other thing is, you can see how soft this is. A licorice stick.
It's too soft.
It used to be a really hard licorice. How can you?
It wasn't as hard as the really hard licorice. It was like a mid.
It's impossible. Look,
to dip.
To dip.
And then get it
the
out.
idea is you've got sherbet, and the idea is you dip your licorice stick in your sherbet and then eat your licorice. But
Well,
there's
no, you
no
don't
way.
eat it. You lick the licorice until.
I used to just eat it,
Well,
and then I used to do that.
Crumbs.
Pour it all in and it goes.
Oh
Makes
dear.
you do that.
I know. I mean,
That's
I did
half-
used to get.
That's why it used to get all wet.
There's a lot in there, actually.
There's quite a lot in it. Well, it's half full. They're never full these days, are they?
They were never full in the old days.
No, but when it was
It
cardboard.
was cardboard, and the whole point of it was the top should
It
get
got
like
wet.
all gammy and wet with your saliva, and it was like then you'd have to peel it off, and
Yeah, that
then
was
you'd end
half
up
the
getting all
fun.
sticky.
And
This is all too. It's all plastic. It's such a shame. Does it taste the same?
Yes.
Ah.
Except the licorice is not right.
Well, that's not good.
It should be it's too floppy. You can't stick it in, you can't delve it into your sherbet because it's not
You can't get it
hard
in.
enough licorice.
It needs to be harder, otherwise, how are you going to get
How are you
anything
gonna
out?
exactly every time I'm dipping it, I'm getting like in this. How long would that take you to eat that sherbet? Getting that.
You need.
Because what I used to do is use it as a little shovel, and you used to be able to kind of shovel
Hold on.
it, and you can't
Hold
do
on
that
a
now.
minute. There is a licorice stick that has a little shovel on the end.
Right.
Do you know the one I mean?
Maybe it did used to have a little.
I don't know if that did, but
It's kind of flat on one end, isn't it?
that's right.
Yeah.
Of the licorice I'm talking about that you can still buy.
Yeah.
Why is that like that? Is that
don't
supposed
know.
to be for a handle, or does this hark back to a day when you would buy that and make? I bet you that's what it used to be like. We need to ask some people, some older people. Did you used to go and buy one of those bits of licorice, buy a bag of kale, as you would call it,
Kale.
and then get your licorice and dip it in? Or did that
so.
come first?
Yeah, what came first?
Because why would there be a flat bit on the end of licorice? We're going to have to get some.
We have to get some. You can still get them. I think that store might sell them where we got.
That is a sherbet fountain.
Sherbet fountain.
It is made by the same people.
Well, it used to be Barrett's. It's now Candyland.
It's the same company.
It's the same company. They've just been. It's made in Britain and
We have a
everything.
theory. We think they changed it to Candyland because we don't call it candy here. So they must have done that
Yeah,
because they're going to take all these products over to America.
that's what we can only surmise.
If they haven't already. So please tell us. We would love to know, anywhere in the world, not just America, anywhere in the world, can you get sherbet
I
fountains?
so want to do that, but it'd be.
Show them the packet again, show them the
wouldn't,
packet.
it wouldn't be good, would it? It used to always look exactly like that, but it was cardboard.
Can you get sherbet fountains? And if you can, tell us what you think of them. If you can't, well, I'm sorry.
And I love licorice. Licorice is one of these things that you either love it or hate it, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not keen.
Oh, you love licorice. I mean, look, that's not good, is it? That's what you don't want. That.
You can't have floppy licorice.
It tastes lovely.
That is an old-fashioned bag.
Look at look. Let's show our mugs. Look. Dan bought me these for my birthday. Look, how cute.
They're not the best quality mugs.
No,
I'm sorry about
I'm
that.
not actually keen on this shape of mug. Do you know the tall, thin ones?
It's so disappointing that they're not high quality. Because for
They never
£10,
are. They never are when you buy a mug like that, like a themed mug.
Well, we have
They're
to change this.
It's always pottery. I like china
it needs
mugs.
changing.
I think everything tastes better out of a china mug or a china.
Although peppermint tea is working nice out
We've
of
just
this.
got peppermint tea because that's all I drink currently. I've not
Look.
I haven't drunk coffee in weeks.
It's not what's in your
Sorry.
teapot.
I'm sorry.
It's what's in your sweetie jar. I'm extremely passionate about these.
Yeah.
Am I not?
You are. Can I have one?
No. Yeah, of course.
Well, I'll take an orange one because you don't like orange.
I'm certain you would think that most people across the world will know what a fruit pastel is. Because Raintree's fruit pastels must... But are they?
They're not the same as Roundtree's fruit pastel.
No! Oh, I realised that. I'm really interested to know, does everyone know what a fruit pastel is? Because I've never seen anyone actually, other than in this country,
Maybe not.
talk about them. So Roundtree's fruit pastel is it's a jelly sweet with sugar on it. I mean, any type of fruit pastel that you buy from anywhere, because in this country supermarkets make their own fruit pastels, and you can buy all sorts of different types of fruit pastels. But
it's not jelly like a Haribo.
no, it's harder.
Totally not like that.
No, I've got some in the drawer. But we're talking about these, so I'm not going to get them.
Lion's fruit pastels.
She's giving it away now.
Oh. Right, I'm going to sit in the corner and not say anything.
Roundtree's fruit pastels are fine, but I know, I'm going to stand on my beliefs. They're not fine. They're not good
they're
enough.
Okay.
Exactly. Okay when you're eating a sweet is not good enough. If you're going to eat a sweet, if you're going to eat sugar, it needs to be a special occasion and it needs to be lovely.
Those ones are much nicer.
And there is only one choice for fruit pastels, and the choice is this. It is a lion's fruit pastel. It comes in the shape of the fruit, and you get all sorts of different flavours. You get a red. What flavour is the red?
Well, it's going to be strawberry, probably, isn't it?
Do you think?
I'm guessing.
You get lemon. No, actually, that's grapefruit.
Oh, is that grapefruit?
Yeah, there's a grapefruit. There is a lime,
Yeah.
which is really nice. And there is a black one.
Oh, black ones.
Which are
always
really,
nice.
really nice.
Black ones. Black and red are always the best ones, aren't they?
Which is blackcurrant.
Blackcurrant.
These are exceptional sweets. If you like sweets, they're like Sour Patch Kids, but actually nice. For me, unfortunately, Sour Patch Kids, I'll eat them, but they're too. They feel too artificial.
Yeah.
They feel
I
very.
know what you mean.
Haribo's. I will eat Haribo's, but they're very artificial. It doesn't feel like you're eating something that's got really nice ingredients in them, really well produced. This feels like a high quality product.
And it's not overly. They're sweet, obviously, but it's not. You know, it's not so sweet. Some sweets are like impossibly sweet, aren't they?
I'd really like to say to you, please, try and go out and get some Lion's fruit pastels. Try and get hold of them.
You can only really get them where you see them in jars, you know, like in a sweet shop. I've never seen them in bags. Have you ever seen them in bags?
No, you will see in certain shops in England, you will see bags of the fruit salad,
midget gems,
you
get
get
Lions,
and sports mixture.
Yeah, Lions midget gems, Lions sports mixture, but I don't know that
It's
I've
very
ever seen
rare
Lions fruit pastels.
that you see the Lion's fruit pastels. But I mean, to be fair, if you can't get hold of the fruit pastels, if you try and you can't get them, get any of the Lions produced stuff. The stuff in the bags, it's a bit like beer out of a can or draft. If you have beer on draft, properly produced with a sparkler on, it tastes totally different to that out of a can. It's the same with these sweets. Lion sweets, if you got Lion's fruit pastels in a bag, they're going to taste different to out of a jar.
Yeah, I agree, actually.
I don't really know why, but the ones out of the jar are always the best. But to be fair though, as I say, if you can only get them in the pre-prepped bag, still get them, because they're still absolutely gorgeous. And we'll have to do some fruit salads.
Midget, yeah, sports,
Not fruit salad. Do I mean fruit salad?
They do fruit salad, but sports mixture.
What's the ones
I really
with the
like
licorice
sports
black
mixture.
ones?
Sports mixture.
Sports
Or is
mixture.
it midget gems?
Both.
Sports mixture. I love.
Old-fashioned midget gems. We're digressing. We shouldn't do this. We'll do this on other episodes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because otherwise, we'll set off on one and we'll be here for another hour.
We will. The proper midget gems, though, where you get licorice flavoured ones.
Very good. Kay Jones, what's off your needles?
Well, that was good timing because I finished that lovely row. I have two things. I'm really pleased
I'm
because honestly,
I'm more in the zone now.
Do you feel better now? You
Yeah.
weren't very good this morning, were you? I was worried.
No. I'm sorry.
It always makes us feel better podcasting, actually. You know, I've done it some days where I've felt horrendous.
And that is how I felt this morning. And I just want to apologise.
I felt pretty
because
good.
I feel a whole lot better now
I
than I
felt pretty
did.
good this morning, all things considered.
Maybe it's the
So,
sweets.
Maybe it's the sweets.
Maybe we should have had sweets at the start of the show.
I think it's just, for me, it's just talking about something that I love and just sitting down and just chatting and, you know, having
one of the big things
not
for us,
thinking
though,
about anything other than just lovely yarn and lovely people
and for all those reasons, that's why we deliberately do not talk about stuff, do we?
No,
Not ever.
Not.
And we won't ever. So apologies. The only reason
we have done. No,
Not at length.
We don't talk at length. And
the only reason why I said that before we went off to Castle Howard was I just felt like I wasn't particularly in the zone in that first bit of filming, and I just wanted to apologise.
you know, we're only human at the end
Yeah.
of the day, and yeah, everybody has off days, don't they? You know,
It's
and
just
we've
an
just had more off days than on days just lately.
I don't like off periods, it's rubbish.
No, but we're always honest with everybody, aren't
Yeah.
we? And you know, you've seen us through the rough and the smooth. for definite.
Yeah,
So.
and obviously the only reason why I'm struggling at the moment is because it's, you know, a year on from the rough, and without me, I don't know why.
But if you think where you are now,
Yes.
and you know, you go running every day, you run what, 3 miles a day?
Yeah, I mean...
And I've started walking every day as well. I haven't been this morning just because we wanted to get on and do this. But yeah, I mean, there's so many positives.
It's all positive.
Yeah.
It's all positive. So, you know, it's self-indulgent and wrong of me to wallow in blooming self-pity about last year. It's wrong.
Well, you're not wallowing. I've never known you to wallow.
I was just being over-dramatic. I wore my purple shorts today to try and cheer myself up. Look, here they are.
It doesn't really wear
What's
them.
new, pussycat?
Oh, don't. No, we've done. No, don't go there.
People liked it, though.
Yeah.
They wanted more.
I didn't.
Who doesn't love Father of the Bride?
We love it.
It's been the film of this summer. We've watched it about 1,000 times.
We have.
It's the business. What is off your needles?
Right. Like I said, I think I just said I got 2 things. Miraculously, 2 lovely things. I finished my hat, my blue tit hat. Oh, it's lovely. And I only used, I think I've got 62 grams left. I weighed it and I'm sure it's 62 grams that I've got left. So I've definitely got another, you know, enough to knit another one. Or what I might do is I might knit some mittens to match it. But here's my lovely blue tit sockhead bankhead hat. And I've washed it and blocked it. Shall I stick it on? I've got hair down. I don't know how.
Oh yeah, go for it.
I don't know how this is going to work. And I actually, in the end, there's not really any slouch at all.
No.
It's a little, you know, there's room, but there's no real slouch. I should keep it on, shouldn't I?
Yes.
You think?
Yes. Whatever you like.
Does it look? I was just a bit dubious about all the colours on my head. I'm not sure, but
Oh no, crumbs.
is that okay?
Yes. So, is your bankhead hat?
So,
No, it's not.
no, it's my sockhead bankhead blue tit hat. Done, and I love it. And a few other people have knit one exactly the same. It's hilarious. When I was looking on like the threads, I'm like, that's my hat. Oh no, it's not my hat. It's brilliant. I love it. So, and I've got more yarn to knit more. I'll show you in endy bits. And then the other thing is I finished Dan's socks. Ta-da! He's opal. There is 2. And he did try it on again. Do you know I had the dilemma about one being too big? He tried it on again and it was okay. It clearly was 2 or 3 rows too long. And I know what the problem is. I measured my gauge again against one of his other socks. The stitch count was the same. The row count was out on this one. So clearly that's why this one came out longer. I can only put it down to the fact that this has been knit on DPNs and my row count is obviously different on DPNs to on Magic Loop. But at least I've worked out why it was different. So on the second sock I did knit it 3 rows shorter than the other one, just so at least he's got one sock that's a little bit snugger than the other. But so, and I washed them. And
Well, I do have one foot bigger than the other.
Oh well, there you
My
go
left
then.
foot.
But I don't know which is which.
And my left foot is my... Ooh!
That one I think is the
Hey.
one that's. I think that's the one that's shorter than that
You
one.
say my left foot is bigger at the top, over the top.
One of them is bigger than
It's
the
my
other.
left foot. That's the one you've always gone about.
It's something to do with your drums, isn't it? I think.
Have we had this conversation before?
No, I think I'm just surmising.
Well, I
Something
think she's
to do with
surmising correctly.
drumming,
My right
I
foot,
think.
my heel stays down, and I'm using the muscles in the front of my calf when
Yeah.
I'm playing. My
Your-
left foot,
Your calves are massive these days.
my left foot, my heel goes up and it does that.
Well, that's why that one's bigger.
So your left foot, when you play your hi-hat foot, you do sometimes play with your heel down, but the majority of the time you're actually using your leg more and the muscles at the front of your
Yeah,
foot, so
yeah.
that'll be the reason
That'll be
why.
the reason why.
My calves are massive.
Yeah, since you started running, your calves are huge. I measured your calves the other day because I was like, they're enormous. I think your calves were like 22 inches.
Crumbs.
That's like the size of some people's waist. Not mine, I hasten to add. I wish it was. don't know anybody that'd have a 22-inch waist these days. I think in the olden days they did because of all the corsets and stuff. It wasn't a true measurement. I'm completely digressing today, aren't I? So I actually had loads of this yarn left, and I think that is because, you know, my row gauge was off a little bit, wasn't it? But I also, because I did the contrast heels. But I'm glad, I say loads, it might be 8 grams or something like that, which is not a lot really, but I normally only have 2 or 3 grams left when I knit Dan socks. So I think it's because of the heels. So I will definitely carry on doing the different heels for him, I think, just so that I've got leftovers to put into my sock blanket. But I love these. I think they came out lovely. So you can wear these now.
Cool.
I always make Bryony, and she's got millions of pencil cases. I cannot tell you how many pencil cases this girl's got. She's got more felt tips and pencils.
We seriously
and,
need. We have a problem. We've got to start. You can't buy her any more pens, right?
No, I won't.
And we also have to do something because
I have
she can't find anything.
I know she can't find anything, honey.
Because she's got so much of it.
I know. But we need to go through her entire bedroom when she's back at
Yeah,
school.
that's fine. But if we were to remove 75% of the pads and maybe 50% of the pens, then that would make the whole situation an awful lot better. She wouldn't even realise.
She wouldn't even realise, I know. There's a big bag of teddies up in the loft that I removed ages ago that she's never noticed.
Yeah, well, that's fine.
I need to do that again.
Don't focus on the teddies.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Focus on the pens and on the pads that she never asked for.
I just like, she just loves she loves drawing and she loves
so
and all that, and I just...
Do you know how many pads I pulled out that hadn't been written in?
No.
Plenty.
Right.
And all different sizes.
All right, I've considered myself reprimanded. But she can take a pencil case to school, and you know, filled with pencils and pens and things. So I make her one usually at the start of every term. I usually make her a new one, or you know, for season changes, like I make one at Christmas and things like that. Well, I know. Whenever I buy fabric, she's like, "Oh,
can I have things?
That's pretty.
Seasonal?
Can I have a pencil case in that?" Every single time she'll say that to me,
think
and
you
I
could sew
can't
up
say
pants?
no to her. What?
Do you think you could like sew up underwear?
Oh, shut up.
That would be cool.
Oh, don't be ridiculous.
Okay. I was just thinking Star Wars.
So anyway, I've made her a pencil case, and I've just ordered some more of this fabric. Actually, she loved this fabric when I got it. When she chose it in York, and it's the little elephants. Oh, it's so cute. So I'll put these really pretty purple polka dots at the bottom, and then the inside is just plain pink. So, and I make them really big for her, just because, you know, she has so many pencils and everything. But there's no, sometimes I box the corners, but, you know, because this is a nice big size more often than not, I don't box the corners for a pencil case. I don't think it necessarily needs it because it's super roomy, you know, and it's really big. I make this really nice big size, like I say. And then when I made her this, I thought, oh, do you know what? I might make some of these for the shop because as a pencil case, we all use them, don't we? But also, you know, because it's a nice big size, it would work brilliant for, you know, keeping DPNs in or bigger notions, you know, things like your tape measure and your needle gauge and, you know, stuff like that that's slightly bigger. Or if, you know, when going away on holiday, you can get all of your notions in it, things like that. So I might sew up some of these if anybody thinks that, you know, they would want to buy one. And I have got some more of the elephant fabric as well. I found some more, and I found it in this super shop that I've not used before. I was searching for it online and I couldn't find it anywhere, and then I found it in this one, and it's the Homemakery, thehomemakery.co.uk. Really pretty online shop. I mean, even her cards are super pretty. And she sells like lots of things for crafting. There is some yarn in there. There's lots of fabrics. There's paper craft things. Loads of washi tape. I really want to order some of that. So I would, you know, say go and have a look in her shop. And the shipping was phenomenally fast. I ordered it at 4 o'clock one afternoon. It came the next day. I must have just caught her as she was going to the post office, I think.
Did you know?
But brilliant shop.
Have you finished?
Just that.
Okay, shut up.
And then the other thing that I've been playing around is I've been making some little coasters little sort of scrappy coasters. Aren't they cute? And just, quilting them very simply. So again, I might make up, a little batch of 4 of them and put those in the shop. I'm just kind of thinking at the minute of different things, just different cute little things. And I am making DPN homes as well, which I've been putting in the shop as and when I make them. So that's that. And I have got an update on Saturday. It won't be very big, just because we've just had so much else to do this week, haven't we? And I've done a lot the past few weeks, sewing wise, and I just feel, because it's Bryony's last week, I don't want to be up sewing too much. I want to just give her as much time as I can this week. So, but there will be a small update on Saturday.
And a big one next Saturday.
Well, I don't know. I'll just see how I go.
Probably no new.
Maybe.
Yeah. So it's time to ask someone what's off their needles.
I like this hat.
Good. And that person is a coffee drinker.
Oh, I miss coffee. Yeah.
And a reader. She lives in Wolverhampton.
Wolverhampton?
Yes, but looks forward to visiting her boyfriend's native Yorkshire because of all our favourite places to knit.
We love Yorkshire.
She loves how enthusiastic I am when I say what's on and what's off your needles.
Oh.
So I thought it was particularly appropriate that I should then be saying what's off your needles, Rach the Human.
I've seen that name pop up.
How cool is that? So Rachel, what's off your needles? I'm asking you.
And she's clearly a human.
Well, yes, she is.
That's a cool name.
It is. So Rachel, you could maybe share with us why you gave yourself that name, and you could also show us what's off your needles. And thanks so much for your lovely message. So it's what's on your bookshelf.
Right.
And I'll start.
Because I'm still knitting, so you
That's
start.
fine. I shall start with this book, which I spoke about a little bit last episode. This book is brilliant. It's brilliant. It's how history books should be written. It jumps off the page. It easily forms images in your head. You can totally get it. It is still a history book, so it's not. It's not historical fiction. It's not got. I mean, it does have a tight narrative. I mean, it's difficult to describe in a way because it does feels a bit like a thriller, but it isn't. It isn't. I wouldn't want you to go out thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to go get that. I've never read a history book before, and clearly this one's going to be for me. If you are interested in history, if you've enjoyed the favourite places to knit, if you particularly enjoyed the Roman things, or if you're interested in how the world that we live in today was formed, then this is a perfect book for you to read. Basically, it's covering the transformation of Rome from a republic into it having guys in charge, emperors in charge. Because initially when it was formed it was a republic, and then they changed to effectively having one person in charge of the whole thing. So it is a really, really, really good book, and I would recommend this to pretty much anybody. I don't think it necessarily appeals to guys more than girls, and similarly I don't think it would appeal to girls more than guys. I think it is a cross-gender, extremely good read, and I'm probably nearly halfway through and absolutely loving it. And he's just brought out a new one actually called Dynasty, and that's all about how that's basically Dynasty is all about, what were the family called?
Carringtons.
The Carringtons.
And the Colbys, wasn't it? Oh,
it's called Dynasty, but it's not about Dynasty. It is about Julius Caesar and the end of him, and well, not just him actually. He spawned what comes from the end of the Republic here is the start of the period of the Caesars. Julius Caesar pretty much being the first, but then it was Augustus was the first emperor, and then the emperors flowed on from there, and it's about how that dynasty ended. So not read that one, of course, but I probably will. But this one is exceptional, so definitely worth a read. You only need to show one if you want.
I've just really got the one to talk about.
That's fine.
I just mentioned briefly that I've started going for a walk every morning, and Not so much. It's more for my mental side of things than sort of physical, but of course it's physical. But saying that, I do suffer from sciatica, and it does help that. So only about half an hour, but I've been listening to a book whilst I've been walking, and that's really made me want to go out and walk, because I'm like, oh, I want to listen to my book. And I bought this book. That's a bit silly, really. I bought this book because I thought I hadn't read it. And actually, I hadn't read it to the end, but I had started reading it, and I realised that once I started listening to it, and I'm like, I've read this. But I got to a point where I thought, oh, no, I don't remember this. I haven't, for some reason, I didn't finish it, and I don't know why I didn't finish it, because it's totally my sort of book. And I'm nearly to the end of it now, but what I've discovered, and I'm sure it said it was abridged. I'm sure it would have said it was abridged when I bought it, but I didn't. I just bought it very quickly one morning just before I was going out. It's massively abridged, and I think it's like 2.5 hours long, which isn't very long for an audiobook, really, and that should have triggered something in my head because I know how thick the book is. But in any case, I've enjoyed it, and I've actually got the book because, like I say, I started reading it, and it's Rosamund Pilcher's The Shell Seekers, and I know a lot of people have read this. When I spoke about the winter solstice last time, a lot of people said, oh, The Shell Seekers is my favourite of hers, and that's what made me think, oh, I'm going to go and buy it. And I don't know why I thought I hadn't even started reading it, but I've been trying to work out how far in I was, and I think by looking at the book, I think I was about there. I don't treat my books very well. Dan always tells me off, but I do tend to break the spines, and it's only because I don't like reading like this. I always do that. So I can tell by the spine how far in I was. So I think I was about to here, and I've no clue why I stopped reading it. Because I really enjoyed listening to the story and everything. So I think maybe I'll go back and read the book now.
Cool.
Because there is huge chunks of it missed out. So yeah, but I mean, she's just such a lovely writer. So easy to listen to, and such lovely characters, and very descriptive, and it's just lovely. And it's set a lot of the time in Cornwall, this one, by the sea, and all that's really lovely. So excellent book, and I've really enjoyed it. I need to find another one to listen to now, actually.
I've just finished reading Bryony.
What?
Simon Scarrow.
Oh, I thought.
The Blood Crows.
No way.
Yeah. I spoke about this a little while ago. I just wanted to touch back on it because I finished it. I think before, I thought it was okay. And sort of recommended it more for the guys than the girls. It's a very formulaic book. Simon Scarrow does that. He writes definitely to a formula, so you know what you're going to get. It's rip-roaring, fairly gory.
I'm sure Brian would
skip
love
those bits
that.
out.
Oh,
I just avoid those words. She enjoys the fact that the reason why I read it to her was we were obviously going on our Roman adventure, and it's set in Britannia. This book, the Blood Crows. It's all about a legion chasing after the Britannia rebel leader Caraticus. Not Potts. Well, he was Caractacus, wasn't he?
I know, we've said before.
So The Blood Crows, it's a good book, but it's a formulaic thriller. So where that differs from, I think the reason why I wanted to mention this was, in contrast to Rubicon, which is a history book, this is a thriller which reads like a thriller. It could be set anywhere at any time, but within it, it is giving you little tidbits of history, and it is giving you, Roman stuff. Just little bits, but enough so that if you are a thriller reader, you don't read history books, but you want to have a bit more Roman stuff, then get Simon Scarrow, and I'd probably start with book 1. Although you could pretty much start anywhere, because as I've said now a couple of times, they're formulaic, so you could pick it up and read any of these books and be off and away. This is book 12, The Blood Crows, but any of the books in the series you would enjoy. So yeah, that was good. And now I'm just deciding what I'm going to read with her next, and I think I've just decided actually. I think it's going to be a Con Iggulden book.
Oh, good heavens.
Called The Wars of the Roses.
guessing she doesn't. Does she really listen to you, or is she just kind of falling asleep?
She just listens to my voice.
Yeah.
And that sends her off to sleep.
Yeah.
So she's happy. She likes that.
Oh, you should totally read to me.
I tried it once.
You did, I remember. I
Yeah.
think I liked it.
It's the endy bits.
Wow, we made it to the endy bits. Right. We will first. I'll show you. I've only made a couple of. Well, only one purchase really. So I'll just quickly show you those, and then we'll do the prizes. So I told you last time I was going to order more of the bird colourway, the West Yorkshire Spinners, to make more of these lovely hats. And I've got the owl and mallard.
Pussycat.
Yeah, the owl and the pussycat. This is the owl, which is lovely. That would make great socks for you, actually. Lovely sort of browns and greys. Very pretty. And then the mallard has got blues and greens and like tan colours in it. Really nice. And the other reason I ordered these is I don't know that they're going to discontinue this range when they bring in the new one. Chances are they won't. But I did kind of suddenly think, oh, what if they do? And I wanted to just grab a couple more skeins. They probably won't. I'm sure they'll just carry on with both ranges. So that was that. And then months ago, I ordered some yarn and totally forgot about it. I never received it, but just completely forgot I'd ordered it, because that's just what we do, isn't it, as knitters? And I ordered some yarn because I watched an episode of Danny's Little Bobbins, and she was knitting some mittens with a Regia yarn, and the colourway was called Icing Sugar. I'm sure it was Icing Sugar, and I loved it. So I went hunting for it, and I found some at what's the yarn shop? It'll come to my head. Laughing Hens. Laughing Hens, it's a UK yarn shop. So I ordered a couple of skeins and then totally forgot. And literally months later, they sent me a message apologising, saying that they didn't have it in stock and did I want to choose another colourway. So I did, and then forgot about it again. And then a few weeks later, they went, "Oh, I'm really sorry. We've just got your email." I mean, really, service is terrible when you think about it. It's not good. We'll send it out. So they did then. So I chose instead, I've gone for Regia Design Line. It's one of the Calf Facet, however you want to say it, colourways. And it's colourway number 2904. It's beautiful purples and blues and sort of bright minty green. And it's lovely. So I've got those ones. Super pretty. Sorry, I should show you the actual ball band. So Regia, it's the Calf Facet, Cave Facet. I don't know if it's Cave or Calf. So that's the only yarn that I bought. So
is it prizes then?
It's prizes.
Let's do this
now. Let's do it. So we in the end we've got 12 prizes. So I decided, because we had in the Brit-along we had 287 entries.
Wow.
Amazing. In the favourite colour Patron knit-along we had 98 entries. Both fantastic, but because we had substantially more in the Brit-along than the favourite colour knit-along, I've gone for 7-5 as the split.
That is fantastic.
It is fantastic, I know.
Specifically for the favourite colour knit-along.
98 projects.
That, I mean, considering when that started, that was probably 50% of patrons.
They might have done more than one each.
But still,
even so,
let's just look at the
It's
fantastic.
fantastic.
The number.
It's really fantastic.
But both. I mean, both are fantastic. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you for entering and taking the time to do it. It's been great fun. So we will just jump right in. So I'll do the Brit-along first. So I just did random number generator, 2 to 288, because obviously my entry was the first one. And the first number to come out was number 3. I love this. You know, quite often when I enter into things, I think, oh, I'm not going to be the first one to post because it never wins. This was the second person to post a project. So number 3, and that is Brooke Olinar. I don't know if I'm saying that right.
I'll probably go Olinar.
Olinar, Brooke Olinar. And
Brooke's cool. We take Brooke on holiday for us. She works very hard and she doesn't have time to go on holiday. She's not been on holiday for a long time, I don't think, Brooke. So her way of getting away and having a break is our favourite places to knit. So I hope you enjoyed your little getaway to Castlehowe today.
So it's Brooke in California. And Brooke, you have won the Opal yarn.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Opal Harmony. And it's the one with the lovely elephants on the front of it. And I've also put in there some stitch markers that were gifted to me. I got 2 sets gifted to me, and I was told I could use them as a giveaway. So
yes, I hope you checked.
I did. I've kept one set which had blue tits on, and then this one has got, I think it's a bullfinch. Little bullfinches, I think that's what they are, but it kind of matched the yarn. So you will get, Brooke, you will get the opal yarn and the stitch markers. Okay, I'm going to put these over there as I've said them. Excuse the chair noise. Next is, again, these are all Brittalong prizes. Next one is number 207. And this, it's a lovely lady. This is Dariona. And I hope I'm saying your name right, Dariona. She's Irish. She lives in Waterford.
Crystal. Waterford crystal.
Waterford crystal.
Yes.
I've got some Waterford crystal actually.
Yes.
Yeah, I've got a beautiful vase that was gifted to me years and years ago. So it's Dariona. Oh, please tell me if I'm saying, I mean, we know each other because you bought bags from me. But please tell me if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, because I feel terrible if I am. But you have won the Kiviot yarn.
Wow.
Dariona. Oh. So if you remember, it's the Kiviot yarn that I showed before, and it's beautiful. It's lace weight, I think, from what I can, looks like it could even be a light fingering actually. So that's beautiful. So Kiviot yarn to Dariona, I'm not sure. Next, number 99, and that is One Sexy Grammar.
I'm not even going to comment.
One Sexy Grammar is Joy in Washington.
I'm sure she is.
I'm sure she is a Joy. And Joy, you have won, and again I just did the prizes randomly to the people, but you've won this really cute little project bag. It's made out of vintage fabrics. It's really sweet. So that is yours, Joy. Next one is number 188, and that is 9 Gen 9. Now there's no name on Ravelry for you, but I'm presuming you might be Jen. I hope I'm right. And you're in Nashville. And Jen, you have won 4 skeins. It's the Mirasol is it Minsky? No, Misky. Mirasol Misky. There's 4 skeins of this, which is the baby llama that I showed before. So you've won the 4 skeins of that. Congratulations. Next, number 108, and that's M. Christman, and that's Michelle in Illinois. Michelle, you have won the bag from Suffolk Socks from lovely Julie. So that one is yours. So Michelle. Next is number 139, and that's Middle-Aged Pearl. We know Middle-Aged Pearl. That's Marianne in Virginia. And she has won, or you have won, Marianne, the beautiful butterfly bag. Yay! So that one is yours. And then the last person for the Brittalong is number 284. And again, I thought this was brilliant because this was one of the last entries. So we've got one at the very beginning and one at the very end, which I thought was great. And it's Julie No Jules Jukes.
Yay!
Yay, we know Julie. And that's Julie in Connecticut. And Julie, you have won the fantastic Keeping Up with the Joneses colourway, the Owl About yarn with
wow.
with the beautiful stitch marker. So you've won that one. Fabulous prize, that one. Okay, so that's all 7 people for the Brittalong. So well done, everybody, for that.
Favourite colour knit-along?
Favourite colour knit-along. So this is the Patron knit-along. Okay, so we will start with, first person is number 4. And that is...
Mr. Benjamin Crudwig.
Benjamin. Oh, I loved it when your name came up. And Benjamin, you have won. You'll love this. You've won some hand spun. It's Corriedale, yeah, 152 metres, Navajo Plaid. It's got some info on there for you, but I'm sure you'll be able to tell because you are a spinner, I know. So you've won this beautiful skein, Benjamin. Lovely, lovely.
And the next one to come out was number 15. And that's Sweetheart77. That's Kathleen.
I'm glad you're doing some.
She sent me the message. That was really cool. And because Kathleen was ill like I was, and she just sent me that really lovely message about how every day, you wake up and you worry, but actually she's like dead positive. So
it's really nice.
Yeah, it was really cool. So Sweetheart77, and she has won this beautiful.
Well, there's 3 skeins of
three
this,
skeins of pure UK alpaca.
If you remember, the lovely Carol Kasnitz sent me some alpaca yarn, 3 skeins of it recently, and then she said she'd like to send some more as one of the giveaways. So it's on its way. I should have it, she said, today, maybe, or tomorrow. But there's 3 skeins of this in different colours. This is the cream, and then there's like a beigey colour, and then a darker sort of brown. They're all natural alpaca colours. So, Kathleen, you've won all 3 of those skeins. She said I could split the prize up, but I thought, let's keep them together because they go together, it'd be lovely to use in a 3-colour project. So they're yours.
And the next number to come out was number 81. And it's Katuk 907. We were only talking about Muriel last week.
It's Muriel.
Would you believe it? So it's Muriel from Barrow in Alaska.
Yeah, the very northern tip of Alaska.
Yeah. And what did she win?
She's won the Lol Bear, which is, I think it's totally appropriate for where you are. It's the Blueface Leicester, and it would make fabulous, hat or gloves or cowl. So it's 100% Blueface Leicester, and it's like a natural colour. Beautiful. So Muriel, that's yours.
And next to come out, this has to have been a fix.
Next
to come out was 82, and it's I can't say that. Franciscan Gypsy. I've always struggled with that.
Have you?
I always read it fine.
Talia.
To me, it's just Talia.
She's Talia. It's Talia from Penhook and Needles.
Yay!
Talia. And you have won. I didn't actually ever show this, but I made a bag as a prize to put in with, for one of the knit-alongs that was going on. And I've never
Talia's
shown
won
this.
a bag.
So you've won one of my bags, Talia, and I made it out of this cute dachshund fabric. Look, it's a little drawstring bag, and it's sort of a greeny, aqua sort of colour inside. So that's yours, Talia. Cute dachshunds. And then the last number to come out was number 19. And that's Raven Knitter. That's Erin. That would be Erin. Yeah, I know Erin. In Alberta, Canada.
Yes, and she has won the Rose-ass bag.
Roses. It's just so I know which is which. You've won another one of these lovely bags that was gifted that's made out of vintage fabric. It's really soft and lovely. Yeah, it's really nice. Make a beautiful little project bag. So, Erin, that one's yours. So that's everybody.
Thank you all so much for your amazing entries.
Thank you, everybody. And if you would all of the winners, if you would all like to just PM me on Ravelry with your address and your full name as well, because I know some of you, obviously, but some of you I don't know what your surname is. So your full name and your address, and when I get your PM, I'll then send your prizes out.
So everyone, PM Kate.
Yeah, because I don't normally, if there's only 1 or 2 prizes, I will send messages out if I don't get a PM. But because there's so many this time, I'd be really grateful if you could just PM me your details. And then when I get, like I say, when I get your PMs, I'll then mail out your prizes.
Cool. And if you're still in the mood for more knit-alongs, Cody is doing a Bakery Bear knit-along at the moment with some great prizes.
Yeah.
And we actually made, just for the duration of the knit-along, we've made your first Finishing Your Bakery Bear tutorial free to access for everyone just for this month. So just to support Cody and his knit along, and you're also knitting up a prize. Not knitting up.
He's got it.
Oh, you've sent him.
He's got the prize now. I've made a bag.
Bag. Which is
he's
pretty
got
cool.
it, and he did post a picture on Instagram of the bag if you wanted to see it.
If you fancy another knit along, head over to Cody's podcast because he's doing a Bakery Bear knit along.
He is.
Yeah. So if you're about to knit a Bakery Bear, or if you haven't knit one and you're going to, and I'm sure someone's just said that recently. Crumbs, I should. Oh no, I don't know about that. I've got too many projects on the go.
I'm going to say.
Sorry, Cody, it's too early for me. I need a bit more time.
Cody's doing a Mrs. Bear this time. He did Mr. before, so
cool.
His little wife for Mr. Bakery Bear is doing it.
So we'll be back in 2 weeks for episode 33, and episode 33 will be all about the final of Knit or Forfeit. Yes. So we will find out.
I need to focus. Oh, there's a thought. If any of you have got fantastic questions, it's got to be a multiple choice with 4 answers. That I could ask Dan on either knitting or history, or maybe not Star Wars, unless Imperial Knits wants to send me a question.
Or Talia knows this stuff.
Talia, do you know loads about Star Wars?
You need to PM Kay, obviously.
PM me on Ravelry. Yeah, don't put it in any forums or anything, because, tall fella will see. So yeah, if you've got any questions that you think would be good for him, send me a PM on Ravelry. That would be great.
I'm sure that Jolie would be up for helping you with that.
Jolie?
Yeah.
Yeah, because she wasn't happy with you, Jolie, was she?
Because I think Jolie wants Kay to win, so
yes.
Jolie, come along and
Team
help Kay.
K.
So yeah, that's the end of episode 32.
Yes.
So really hope you enjoyed that. I'm sorry about not being my usual self at the start, but I got there in the end. Thanks. I hope you still all do. I'm sorry for being in blooming misery. It does my head in. I don't think you
were in misery at all, Dan.
Oh, it does my head in. I can't stand it because I've never been that type of person my whole life, and now you're just dealing with. As I'm sure there'll be loads of people out there, I hope, but I certainly think, given the reaction we normally get when we talk about things like this, who are dealing with things probably a lot worse than this every day. And, my heart goes out to you, it really does, because...
I get messages constantly from people that have gone through things.
I think it's more that, when you wake up on a morning and you feel in a certain way, and it's how you go about getting out of feeling that way and being
that's
your
what
normal
I
self.
found so frustrating, because I don't
like being hampered by mental stuff.
I don't know how to make myself feel better, and I know that you can't you just got to let yourself feel how you feel. That's the thing, and you shouldn't try and force yourself to feel a certain way, because it won't work. So I've kind of come to the conclusion that I know some days I'm going to have bad days and some days I'm going to have good days. And eventually, the good days outweigh the bad days. And, I woke up this morning and the first thing I thought of wasn't something to do with how do I feel today.
No, we can't talk about what you...
I told Dan about a dream I had. But at least that wasn't... Normally the first thing that enters my head the second I wake up is, how do I feel today? And that is horrendous. I know a lot of you have gone through, and are going through similar things and can completely relate to that. Oh, it just consumes you, it really does, and it's just the worst thing, and I absolutely hate feeling like it. So this morning, like I say, it wasn't the first thing I thought of. Maybe it was about the second or third, but that's progress, I guess.
So get ready for the next issue of the Bakery Bears News if you're a patron. That's coming out before the next episode.
And I think, aren't we filming the first patron-only podcast maybe next week?
We're filming the first patron-only podcast this month, so
right.
Watch this space. We will find out this month when it works for us to film it, and then it will come out at that time then every month.
Okay.
So the first pop is coming this month, which is going to be super exciting. I had a few little ideas about additional little things that we might do. We'll just have to wait and see. And we've also been talking to some of our $25 patrons about ideas for things that are going to go into pop. It's going to be much more community focused, which is going to be really cool. So more of your projects, less of our projects.
But I will have special
pop projects, which would be cool.
Pop projects.
So please, if you want to view that, if you enjoy watching the podcast, if you want to help us keep making the show, as you know, please become a patron. We'd love to welcome you into that community. I think that's enough of us for today.
I think so.
So we will see you in 2 weeks.
Couple of weeks.
For episode 33, and then it will be after episode 33, I think, that pop will come out. But just keep your eyes open. Who knows when it will drop? Who knows when it will pop? See you next time.